Prim, quiet, elegant Miss Price is a witch. Well, not quite, not yet. A witch in training. Miss Price hasn't gotten the hang of flying on a broomstick, nor has she learned how to be properly wicked. And for her spells, well, makes perfect. But she can't practice if the three Wilson children, Charles, Carrie, and Paul, reveal her secret. In return for their silence, she enchants a brass bed knob so that when the children twist the knob and wish, the bed will take them anywhere they want. But traveling by is a clumsy sort of magic. What the children want is an adventure. What they get is trouble. Trouble, the most breathtaking, fantastic, and unforgettable kind. Hi, I'm Rachel,
I'm Nova,
and welcome to Novel Nostalgia.
where we talk about the novels that make us nostalgic. Hey everyone, before we hop right in, it is Nova here. I was not able to make the recording of this episode, but Rachel and I had a discussion about going about it, and I am in editing because I edit these episodes. Am going to, if I feel like, add in some input here and there. So I'm not actually part of the conversation happening, just adding my 2 cents in afterwards. So I hope you enjoy this episode. Let's hop into it.
Hello, welcome to the Novel Nostalgia. I am Rachel. Nova is not with us today, but we are joined by my friend here, Alex.
Oh, hey. Hey, everybody.
So, if you've been listening to the Barely Bookish podcast, you will know Alex from our multiple Jane Eyre episodes that are still ongoing.
Yes, they are.
But it's a great fun time, and we're going to have a great fun time reading Bedknobs and Broomsticks. So, I chose this because I was obsessed with the movie when I was a kid. I had never read the book before this. And it's been a really long time since I've seen the movie, but I was like absolutely obsessed with it. And I found out that you too, big fan of the movie.
Oh my god. This is the formative movie of my childhood.
Mhm.
Like my grandpa was a huge movie fan generally, and my grandparents watched me a lot as a kid, and this was like our shared bonding movie that I made this
Mhm.
man watch multiple times a week, occasionally multiple times a day.
Mhm.
And he never got sick of it, at least outwardly to me. There was always an enthusiasm for it. So I have a lot of fond memories of watching this movie with my grandpa while he ate Werther's, and so that's what I do from time to time when I'm feeling nostalgic. I pop this movie in and have a bag of death candies, which
Mhm.
are Werther's, because they will choke you to death, and I don't know how people survive eating them, but I do. So far,
Yeah.
I have survived every Werther's I've ever eaten.
Yeah, 100% survival rate.
Yes.
I my experience with watching this movie is my grandparents in their like walkout basement had this like really old TV with this their VCR thing was a car. So you'd pop the hood of the car, you put the tape in, and you close it, and then you can watch it.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah. But so like every time, and I'm like trying to remember, I don't think that was just the rewinder. Like, I'm pretty sure that was the actual VCR player.
I am very jealous of this setup.
Mhm.
I will say that the copy of Bedknobs and Broomsticks that my grandpa had, like
Mhm.
every movie my grandpa had, was taped from television.
Oh,
He never bought a movie in his life, I want to say, except like
Pirating
he
King.
he got some as gifts, but like this tape and most of his tapes, we had to do the little fast forward through the commercials because
I love that. What
that
an
was the way we
icon.
did things. He truly an icon.
Yeah. He was downloading music illegally before uh, YouTube to MP3 existed.
I think that's where I got my own pirating
Hmm.
panache, we'll say, because that's the word I want to use.
Let's just get into it. We'll start with the book, and please feel free to chime in with stuff about the movie. We'll talk about the movie a little bit more at the end and as it goes on. But what a wild ride this book is. So, in the book, there are three kids, Carrie, Charles, and Paul. Carrie is supposedly about your age. Charles is a little younger, and Paul is only 6. That's
Very
how the
specific.
ages. Yeah. I was like, okay. Like, I don't know if Carrie is about my age, actually.
I see. Carrie is a
Yeah.
34-year-old child. Paul is 38,
Hmm.
and what's his face
Hmm.
is 6. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
All I can picture now is 2 adults and a child. Oh boy.
Yeah, Charles is the one that's a little younger. Paul is 6.
Oh, sorry. Yes, Paul is 6. My bad.
The kids are all visiting their aunt in Bedfordshire, which I think is ironic because bed, but you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, their neighbor is Miss Price, and canonically, she is supposed to be just a normal woman, very ladylike and kind. Canonically, until she hurts her ankle.
Okay, I'm going to turn my camera on for you. I'm sorry. I would like to be neighbors with Miss Price. I'm just saying.
I would like to be neighbors with movie Miss Price.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
maybe not book Miss Price, actually.
We can talk about my Angela Lansbury crush at length if you want to, but it's fine.
I mean, feel free, please.
Like that little house, that little cottage that she's in,
Hmm.
so quaint, so like,
Hmm.
mm, this
Yeah,
is it's
how
just
I
got
want to be.
yes, that's the life I want. I want to just live in a small little country cottage where no one
Mhm.
can bother me and I can be surly about children and the locals are like, "Oh, Alex, no,
Yeah.
just because you don't like kids, here's 3 of them to save
Hmm.
them from the Nazis." I'll be like, "Mm."
Dang it. Yeah, funny enough, there's no talk of Nazis in this. I know.
"What?
Yeah, basically what this one the premise of this is that their mom like was unemployed and like couldn't afford to take care of their kids. So she's like, "Can you watch them until I can get a job, please?" Like the mom's in London. She's like, "I literally cannot afford them. Can you please just watch them?"
When was
Like
this book written?" I've never read
fi-
this book. When was this book written?
originally copyrighted in 1943.
That's wild.
Yeah. Yeah. So no Nazis in this one.
That's the second best part of the movie is the
I
Nazis.
know. I
Okay.
know.
Okay. All right. I'm already getting the impression that the movie is way better, but
It
convince
is.
convince me about this book.
I can't because it's not good.
Ah!
So basically, what happens is Paul has known for a long time that Miss Price rides on a broom. And when she fell off of it, he wasn't remotely surprised because she's terrible.
What a little shit.
He's like, I was like not telling you guys because I just wanted her to be really good and impress everybody. So I was just like watching her at night take off on the broom and like learn.
What a creep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Paul, you can't just watch people when they're flying brooms.
Yeah. Listen, everybody should be able to do their own thing in their own piece, okay? Don't be nosy, Paul. Um, and when Paul admits that he knew, Miss Price freaks out. She's like, you can't know. Nobody can know. But it's like you're doing this in broad daylight. You didn't even go out of town. You're jumping out your own window in your own house.
Broad daylight.
Is it just that she's not very smart in the book? Or like not thinking about it?
Good lord.
Like, do you know how in kids' books they like to make like adults children?
Aha, I see. Okay. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's more that than like her actually being unintelligent. It's more that like she's very kid like. So,
Naive
yeah.
British
Yeah.
people. Got it. Yeah. All right.
um so the next day the kids are fully like, "So are you a witch?" And she's like, can't just ask people if they're a witch."
What is that movie where it's just like you can't just ask somebody
Mean
that?
Girls.
Yeah. Okay. This is a very Mean Girls moment.
What is it? Isn't it about her being from South Africa, right?
I think so. Yes.
And you can't just ask people why they're white. Isn't that it?
It is.
You can't just ask Miss Price why she's a witch. It's no, you
Yeah.
can't do that.
So she admits that she's studying to be a witch. She's a witch in training. And then like, oh, what's the hardest part? And she goes, being wicked. And then like becomes like awful for a second. Basically, the kids tried to like hold her for ransom, and they're like, we won't tell your secret if you give us something.
A little blackmail.
Mm-hmm.
Good idea, children.
Yeah, not ransom, sorry, blackmail, but they're like, you could give us anything. And then here's where the coming out originally in 43 really comes into play because they ask basically if they could have a slave at their beck and call.
Oh God, children,
Yeah.
no.
And I'm like, oh, what?
God damn
Like,
it, British people.
the worst part about this to me is that the movie is like well loved, okay? And like, I don't remember there being anything crazy in the movie. I can't really remember. I don't think there's anything that like Disney was like, "Whoa," you know.
No, and I mean it came out in the 70s, and I want to say there are actually people of color in the movie.
Huh?
Like there's that whole scene in I mean, I'm going to preface this by saying they are the only people of color in the movie, and they are there
Mhm.
specifically to show off the diversity of the British Empire. So, you know,
Yeah.
not great and not ideal. Uh,
Mhm.
but when they're in Portobello Road, there's that whole dance number that my partner
Mhm.
hates. Like every time we watch this movie, she's like, the dancing scene," and I'm like, the dancing scene. It's like you've got people from Jamaica. I think there are Sikhs in there. Um, so there is like a diversity of appearance in that one scene. Of course, it's celebrating all of these happy colonials who are just here to help the British Empire fight against those darn Nazis.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
I mean, I think they made an attempt in the movie to show some diversity. Uh,
Yeah.
Problematic, but an
Yeah.
attempt. Whereas it doesn't sound like this was the kind of book where we will be seeing any people of color whatsoever.
No. No. It's shocking that this book is what the movie's based off of when this book is like got 2 stars and like maybe 100 people have read it on Goodreads. Like I'm astounded that these are even remotely related, actually.
Do we know if the books were popular in their time?
Does not seem so. I don't know for sure, but like there's not that many people have read it. Like I don't know really to its time, but it's like, when books were that popular, usually there's multiple copyrights because they've been published a bunch. This one had like one.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
children's books don't like. There are so many children's books that we've never
Mhm.
heard of because they're just, it's an industry, right?
Mhm.
And the amount of people writing children's books and then and before is a lot, and they often don't survive because they're
Mhm.
children's books, and children are hard on books. But like, I wonder if this is just like a case where some screenwriter read this book and was like, I have a better idea.
Yeah, like it is. This was republished by Odyssey Classics, so it is considered a classic technically, but I don't know.
But is it a classic because Disney made a movie of it?
That's what I'm thinking. Um, I don't really know. It also, this was originally 2 books. It was The Magic Bedknob and Bonfires and Broomsticks to become Bedknobs
Oh,
and Broomsticks. Yeah.
okay. So are
Yeah.
you only looking at the Magic Bedknob?
Not this is
Oh,
both.
this is both.
Yeah, and it's tiny. So like these were really small individual books. But like yeah, there are 4 copyrights. So it's 1957, the original which was 1943, and then the copyright was renewed in 1971 because of the movie and 1985. So,
That's very interesting to me.
yeah, I don't know. So there you go. But yeah.
But I'm
So
just like,
basically,
sorry, I'm
no, you're fine.
thinking about the other children's Titan movie of Mary Poppins, and that's also based on a book series, but that's a more well-known book series, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I
I
want to
don't.
say when I was a kid, I had at least read one or more of the Mary Poppins books. I didn't even know
Mhm.
that Bedknobs and Broomsticks was a book until I was an
I didn't
adult
know
human
either.
being.
Yeah, I had no idea until my cousin actually owned this and knew I loved the movie and gave it to me, and she had never read it.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, I don't know how popular this was. I'm assuming not much because, like, when you think of classic kids' books that are wildly popular, you
Winnie the
mostly
Pooh.
get Winnie the Pooh, Little Women, Peter Pan,
Yeah,
usually, like Cinderella, those kinds of things
right.
are
Fairy tale
like,
stuff. Yep.
yeah. So I don't know. I don't know.
If you know how popular Bedknobs and Broomsticks was because you are a 90-year-old British person listening
Yeah.
to this podcast, get in the comments. Tell us.
I'm gonna do a quick Google. Oh, from Wikipedia, which is obviously the most reliable source, turns out Bedknobs and Broomsticks entered development when the negotiations for the film rights to Mary Poppins were placed on hold.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That
Yeah.
makes sense. But that must have been in the 60s.
Mm-hmm. Trying to figure out. No one's really telling me whether this was like an actual popular book. People also search for Bedknobs and Broomsticks controversy, Bedknobs and Broomsticks racism.
Well, this is interesting. It says that Disney published the right or purchased the rights in 1945.
Wow.
So like maybe this was one where Walt Disney was like, "This is a fucking great book, and we're gonna do something with it," and
Yeah.
then it sat there for 25 years.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know if it was popular. Everybody's kind of just talking about the movie too much for me to actually know. And I looked at Goodreads popped up, and it looks like 11,000 people have read it, which for a classic is not very many at all. Even for like a current book, not many. So we don't know.
Okay, that was a little tangent. I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. So Paul has a bed knob in his pocket, and they're like, perfect. And they're going to make that the magical procession. So she said that Miss Price says that the bed knob will take them wherever they want to go when they attach it to their bed. And then, like, while she's making these spells, she's like awful to these kids. Like, just really mean to them all the time.
Well, she's practicing her wickedness, I assume,
Yeah, as you have to do.
as one does when one is an apprentice witch.
I don't remember her being mean at all to these kids ever in the movie.
She made them wash up. She was like, "Can you
Yeah.
stop being dirty children?"
Obviously, that's cruel.
Yeah. But like these, like she snarls at these kids in the book. Yeah,
Is she supposed to be roughly the same age as an Angela Lansbury, or is she younger?
she's supposed to be like idealistic spinster, like still
Gotcha.
hot, still could get a husband, kind
Of
of
course,
a
right.
Spencer. Yeah,
Okay.
like does she want a husband? We don't know.
She could get one if she wanted one,
Hmm.
but at the moment,
Yeah,
it's a question mark.
yeah, like young, fresh, 20 something out on the town kind of vibe is what I'm getting. She's not 27-year-old, 27-year-old with no money, no prospects yet.
Got it. All right.
However, I think the interesting thing is that she lives alone and has a servant. So, like, we're kind of very confused about her societal status.
Well, I feel like in the movie, she like her father was some. I think he's a general. Like there's a picture of him in the kid's bedroom, and he's in
Hmm.
uniform, like an officer's uniform.
Hmm.
So I assume that like she's an heiress to an extent. That like her
Probably.
her family had money, her dad died, and
Hmm.
left her this house that she could just like live in.
Oh, yeah, the
And
kids are
then
living with her, right?
right, so in the movie they're escaping from the Blitz, and they like go to this little village,
Hmm.
and she has to take them. That's the
Hmm.
other thing. It's the government is like, y'all got space, so here's some kids. Have fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Not the case in the book. When was World War II, actually, for context for me? Because I don't know.
1939 to 1945.
Huh.
So this is literally like this is published literally smack dab in the middle of it.
Insane. Okay. So she probably wrote it beforehand or at the early stages. So,
More than likely, yeah.
okay. So, um, when they twist the knob one way, it goes to the past. The other way, it goes to the present. No context of which way. I don't think. I don't know. She might have said, but I
One of the
don't think
ways.
she did. Yeah. We find out that the problem, though, after they try it one night and nothing happens, is that Paul is the only one who can use it.
Good. The 6-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah. She's like, well, he was the one who had the bed knob, so obviously.
By the sacred and ancient laws of witchcraft that I just made up, Paul is the one who gets to use the bed knob.
I'd like to imagine this as interview style, and then like maybe it's because of how much what we do with the shadows I'm watching. But like I'm imagining this pans out to Miss Price being like, "Listen, it would have taken me like an hour to like put permissions for all of the kids,
Th-
so
this is way easier.
yeah, this is way easier. Plus, kind of fun. So
Right. Just fucking with him a little. Don't worry. These
and
little
then
shits
like
tried to blackmail me, okay?
so the first night, Paul's like, "I want to go see my mom," and everyone else is like, "Ooh." Mm. And then like the daughter Carrie's like, listen, like that might scare her if a giant 4-poster bed shows up in the hallway. Like that's a little scary. Like we can go see mom at any time. I want to go see a waterfall.
But also reasonable. Waterfalls are cool.
Agreed. Let's go to the waterfall.
Yeah. It's like both the other kids are trying to go see something cool, and Paul really just wants to like see his mom and like has a full breakdown and like, fine, we can go see mom, and then tomorrow night we'll do something cool.
Priorities.
Yeah. So Paul twists it to go to their mom's house, and now this giant bed is just sitting outside on the street in front of their mom's house. Mhm. Just out in the night air.
As one does when one travels by bed.
Hmm. And they didn't bring it inside or anything. Like they didn't teleport that bad boy inside. It's just sitting outside. So the kids like knock and try and go like greet their mom, but she's not home. So
Good job, kids.
yeah, they're like decide they'll just wait. So they like make the bed and then they sit on it and they're waiting. They're just waiting. And then it ends up that like they wait so long they fall asleep there on the side of the road. And like people are passing them by and they're like, oh, a bed. Oh, a bed. And they're like, it's so weird how adults just keep like saying the same thing over again and over again. And
But
then
they
a
don't do
cop,
anything.
no,
Oh,
they
a
don't do
cop.
anything. A cop rolls up and arrests the children for doing a prank and like
Yes.
impeding the flow of traffic.
I'm very sensible of this book.
Yes, the kids get arrested and brought to the police station. And they're like, we're waiting for our mom. And they're like, why would your mom let you drag this? Like, this is a fully iron metal bed. Okay. So they're like, you can't lift this bed. So
So what are you
he,
doing?
yeah, so he arrests the kids, brings them to the police station, also brings the bed.
How?
He gets a team out there with a van to
What?
bring the bed to the police station.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Arresting the bed. That's cool.
And then he has like these kids like sitting in a jail cell. And like the other cop on duty, who's like his boss, is like, why'd you arrest these children? And he's like, well, they had a bed in the street. And he's like, okay.
And
And then like there's like this motherly person at the police station, and he's like, kids, go stay the night there while we try and get a hold of your parents. And they're like, our dad's dead, it's just our mom. And he's like, oh, okay. Well, I try to get a hold of your mom. So she like they spend all night there. And then like the sun's starting to rise and they ask the lady if they could like take a stroll in the garden outside the police station, which is where the bed is being kept. And she's like, oh, of course, but like obviously you have to stay in this courtyard. And they're like, yeah.
of
And
course
then they
we'll
like
do that.
yeah, they sprint to the vet and like go back home. And then like you get like this little sidebar of the cop talking to his boss. He goes, I don't know, the bed was just there with these kids. And he's like, well, did you like let the kids out? And he's like, of course I didn't let the kids out. And he goes, you know, you're not supposed to let the kids out.
When the children are in cages, you cannot let the children out. You know how they yearn for the mines. They will go.
Yeah. And then he's like, what about the bed? Like, did you like dismantle it or something? And he goes, no, like, I'm telling you, it just is weird. And he goes, okay. Anyways. Then they like the next morning they decide to go and talk to Miss Price because they're like, that was a disaster. And they see her working on her garden and she's like, hey, Miss Price, like, are you entering the flower show? And Miss Price is like, yeah. And she goes, do you think it's very ethical that you are using magic to grow flowers? And Miss Price gets like really mad and she's like, well, like some people can afford better fertilizer. Are you saying that they're cheating?
Ooh, Mrs. Price is like, look here, you little shit. Come at me about fucking magic. I'm gonna
Yeah.
economics you, all right?
So funny. So funny.
Miss Price confirmed socialist?
I guess.
Love to see it.
Could be. A beautiful sight, truly. So then they're like, all right, Miss Price, we can't do this by ourselves again. How
We
about you
fucked up
come
real
with us?
bad.
She's like, we got arrested. Our mom
Right?
might have been called. I don't know. So, like, how about we just do something nice and relaxing? We're all going to go to the beach together. And Mrs. Price is like, I don't know. I don't know.
Miss
Maybe.
Miss Price, a British person, is like, the beach.
Hmm.
Sun. I don't know.
Hmm. So they decide they're going to go to an unexplored island so they couldn't possibly run into cops again. So in a book somewhere, they find a like person mentioning a town of or an island called Yupi.
Okay.
And it's not on any map.
Great.
It's just mentioned once by this one guy.
All right. Reasonable source.
Obviously, a great way to decide on where to go.
Yeah, so they're like, we're gonna go. So they all she sneaks into their rooms at night via broomstick,
Yeah, right. Sure.
of course, as we are ought to do. And then like packed a whole bunch of stuff, and they are off on the bed. There is a joke about Miss Price reading smut, possibly, on the beach.
Ooh, say more.
Yeah. Yeah, well basically they're like, oh, what you reading? And she like
uh, I
like
kind of do
clutches her
stand. I
pearls.
kind of do stand book Miss Price. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, it's kind of a vibe. Like fair, kind of the worst, but also kind of a vibe.
Whomst amongst us has not been the worst from time to time.
So Miss Price is like, listen, Carrie and Charles, you guys are old enough. You can go and explore. Paul, you're gonna stay with me. So
Paul, you're a useless 6-year-old. You can't do anything right.
yeah.
Stay here.
For context, I also forgot to mention they found a beach that was on the opposite side of the world so that it'd be sunny when it's
Ah,
dark.
very
Yeah,
smart. That's thinking.
that's thinking. So Carrie, Charles run off and go exploring, and once the sun starts setting, they're like, oh, we need to go back. So they go back, and Miss Price and Paul are completely missing. The bed's still there. The tide is rising,
Oh
but they're
no.
gone.
Oh
Yeah.
shit.
So they start, they're like going towards the bed, and they see 3 figures in the distance. And they're like, that is one too many.
Correct. They can math.
Yeah. Carrie immediately thinks they're cannibals and takes off. Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. You can't see my face, but there's a lot of shaking a head and pursing of lips happening.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So they get captured because they're children and tied up. And turns out, yeah, they are cannibals. Carrie was right about that.
Oh shit! You got cannibal. Oh god. Okay.
Essentially, they become like I don't I don't think it's actually called hogtied, but like when you get strung up over a fire.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, essentially that's
Like
happening.
prepared for roasting.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Um so Miss Price just ends up having a witch off with their witch doctor.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
How bad does it
Um
go?
I mean pretty rough,
Uh-huh.
but she wins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's shocking, truly.
I guess narratively that makes sense, but okay, so Miss
Yeah.
Price can witch when necessary.
Uh-huh. Yeah. She's not feeling too hot afterwards. Like they scraped out of there basically. But I think she turns him into like a salamander for a second, and then they
Oh,
like all take off when everyone's like, "What?"
just book it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. They're gone. So the 3 kids and her all take off to the bed. They jump on it. A wave crashes over on them as they're like leaving. So they're like soaked to the bone. The bed's soaked.
Not fun.
Mhm. Not fun. And they're
Mm-mm.
like, oh my God. So now the kids are soaking wet when they arrive. Miss Price barely busts out the door. She basically like throws herself out the window, grabs her broomstick in the process, barely makes it out as the maid is like coming up the steps. The maid opens the door, and these kids are living with their aunt, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that, but
Yep, yep.
maid opens the door and sees 3 soaking wet kids, a soaking wet bed, sand everywhere. And she just looks at them and turns around, slams the door, and leaves the house and quits.
Well, she didn't want to clean up that fucking mess. I don't blame her.
Yeah. Yeah. And then yeah, the aunt calls the kid downstairs and they're like, you just made my maid quit, who's been with me for years. like seen everything that's happened to me in my entire life, and you made her quit. Like, what? How did your bed get wet? What happened? And they're like, oh, how beds get wet sometimes when you're a child.
Right. Because that made us thinking that is so much urine. That is so much
Yeah.
pee that I'm going to have to clean up. And I don't want to do that.
Mm-mm.
Why are these
Mm-mm.
children soaked in their own pee? What is happening?
Yeah. Yeah. So the aunt's like, I don't really care if your mom, I was doing a favor for your mom. You guys are awful. Um, you're gonna have to go back to your mom. I don't care if she's unemployed and living in the center of London. You guys are
Incredible.
gonna have to figure it out. So she like makes them go packing. Um, and she's like, I give you like a day to pack up all your stuff. I'm gonna tell your mom that you're coming home.
Cold.
Cold. So they go over to Miss Price and they're like, yeah, we're being sent away. So we're gonna go.
I really hope Miss Price's reaction is like, okay, bye.
It is.
Yes!
So she's like, okay, well, I think honestly I should probably give up witchcraft because it is kind of cheating at life. And the kids are like, yeah, maybe, maybe.
That's the moral of this story?
Please let me cheat. Please let me cheat.
Oh, this was the climax. Like, we're only halfway through the book. This is the end of book one, technically.
Okay. All right. All right. All right.
Yeah. So when they left town, Paul, like, they get on the train and they're like, man, I wish we had the bed knob. And Paul's like, oh, I did take that. That is with me now. I have that.
I did a steal of that. Don't
Yeah.
worry.
He's like, no worries. Not a problem. We do own it. So now we skip 2 years into the future. This is, I think, where book two is. So the aunt has died now,
Mysteriously?
mysteriously.
Okay. Miss Price,
Yeah,
what did you do?
literally. Everything is like sold off essentially for this lady's house. Um, and they're reading in the paper that Miss Price is willing to watch two school children. And
Just the
like,
two.
yeah, just the two. And because honestly, these kids, like, their mom is trying to figure out ways to like get rid of them for a little bit
Mm-hmm.
because she cannot afford them on her one measly salary that she found a random job for, and she needs to find a better one.
Mm-hmm. Relatable.
Yeah. So she's like, okay, great. Like, this is not that expensive. I will send my children. And the kids are like, oh, it's Miss Price. If you write to her and tell her that it's us, she'll take all three of us. So Miss Price is like, okay, fine. Yeah, I'll watch all of you guys and tutor you. Cool. So they get sent over there. And when they get to town, this is when they find out that all of their aunt's possessions are gone. Like, they were just all auctioned off.
Okay.
They did, however, have to scrape and find the bed knob. Because they're like, we're going back to Mrs. Price. Like, we have to have the bed knob. And it was like
Okay.
in like 6 different boxes they had to go through and find.
You have a magic bed knob and you
I know.
lose it? What the fuck?
Literally. They're
Kids.
like, last time I saw it, I think I put it in with all of the buttons.
Of course.
You know.
That's what I do with my magic bed knobs. I put them in with my buttons.
Yeah. So they finally find it. And when they get there, they see that Miss Price has a very familiar bed.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Miss Price did well in the estate sale.
Mm-hmm. And they're like, "Oh, hey, Miss Price. I see your bed looks pretty familiar." And she goes, "I've given up magic." And all the kids are like, "What?
Have you though? Have you
Yeah,
really?
have you?" And they're like, "Are you sure? Because like, what if you didn't? That'd be fun."
These are the same kids who are like, maybe you shouldn't use magic to cheat in life, Miss Price.
Yeah, but
Fucking
now
little hypocrites.
2 years have gone by. They're like, "We want to go on an adventure." So yeah, essentially, Miss Price is doing this for money
Oh
too.
yeah, of
Yeah.
course. I'm not watching these kids for free.
Yeah. She's like, I just, have an empty house and I could use a little bit of extra cash. She literally says that witchcrafting did not get her any money. And
Witchcrafting don't pay the bills.
yeah. So she's like, I'm kind of poor and I would like money.
What a mood, though.
And I thought this would be easy.
Listen, reasonable.
Yeah. So she's like, we're gonna not witchcraft. The two of you kids, I only planned on the two of you, so you guys, there is a room with beds for you. However, Paul, there's a trundle in my room that I'm gonna have you sleep on.
A trundle.
Pretty much what happens. So she puts Paul in her room. And then they're like, but we're not doing any witchcraft stuff, right? And they're like, no, no. And Carrie keeps noticing that every breakfast, Paul is like excruciatingly tired. And Carrie's like, huh.
Funny.
Interesting. So like one night she decides to like sneak in there and the bed's gone. And so are Paul and Miss Price.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So she's like, how dare.
I would be upset.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So Carrie basically threatens Miss Price to let them go to the past by saying that they had a deal and they wouldn't tell as long as they gave her this thing, and they haven't gotten to go to the past. So for the last witchcraft thing they should do is go to the past.
As one does, yeah.
So like we only ever went to the present. We never got to go to the past. Oh, I forgot to mention also when they were asking if I think at one time Charles was like, "Why can't we go to the future?" And then Miss Price just glares at him.
Yes.
So then Carrie,
where do they go in the past?
Oh, sorry. So they are trying to figure out where to go, but they like kind of just shoot in the dark and just turn it and see what happens.
Okay.
So they try to just go to their town in the past, and they didn't specify anything.
Aha, okay.
Yeah. So they end up in their town in 1666.
Ah, the year of the fire.
Also 666.
Yep.
I didn't know that was a year of the fire. I didn't know that.
1666 that's the Great Fire of London. That was a huge deal.
Well, you would have known better than I did because I didn't find out until it was revealed to me in the book, and I thought we all just made it up.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's a historical event.
Huh. Okay.
I knew that it happened. I just didn't know the year.
Well, the children travel to the past, and they come across a fake necromancer who basically, like canonically, he made himself be fake for funsies. And because, she let the kids travel by themselves and not with her, they brought the necromancer to the present day.
Is this Emilius Brown?
I guess so.
Okay.
It's been a long time since I've seen the movie.
Okay. Emilius Brown is the David Tomlinson character. Like, the guy that they want to be their dad.
I think that is his name. I don't really remember. I don't think I wrote it down.
Oh, no.
But that sounds right.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with yes. So Miss Price has decided to let the necromancer stay for a bit, but he has to take a shower.
Priorities.
Great. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that if someone came into my house from 1666, chances are I would be like, here is the refrigerator. That's how this works. We have air conditioning now and soap.
Well, they're in London, so they're in Europe, so they probably don't have air conditioner.
Well, if they came to my fucking house.
Yeah. As of last week, I have air conditioning.
As of last week, I have air conditioning again, so here we fucking go.
You came at the perfect time. So more and more time starts passing, and this necromancer's just chilling.
Yes.
At one point, he did totally panic and run away from a car when he saw it.
I mean, wouldn't you?
Yes, that is not a. I'm not shocked. I would also run away from a car,
I run away from cars now sometimes when
especially
they are
those
going.
giant pickups.
Yes, exactly. Like, stay away from me and the tiny dog. We're getting out of here. Nope.
Hey, you
Goodbye.
can't see me if I can't see you.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah. Like if I can't see the whites of your eyes, no.
And then I
Just
can't
no.
shoot you either.
Correct.
Gotta wait until you see the whites of their eyes to cap them.
What movie is that from?
Oh, that's a John Paul Jones quote, I want to say.
Oh. I remember that quote, but I couldn't remember what it was from.
It is a William Prescott quote from the Revolutionary War in Battle of Bunker Hill.
Oh.
Because the Americans did not have any gunpowder. And so he was like, don't waste stuff because we don't got stuff to waste, fam.
Yeah.
Anyway, also this notion of like this fake necromancer coming back reminds me a lot of Hocus Pocus.
What a good movie.
Just like that bit where they come upon the road and they shove Sarah Jessica Parker into the road thinking it's a river. It's like, yes, that's exactly what you do. You take your dumb sibling and you're like,
yep.
Test it out, dummy.
Yes. Hope you survive. Oh, good, you did.
Good. We knew you'd be fine. It was just to make sure.
Yeah. There's 99% chance you'd be fine.
Yeah. And in the 1%, we would have saved you. Don't worry.
Yeah. So the kids are still like, yeah, we swore off magic. Or Miss Price is still like, yeah, we swore off magic. And the kids are like, cool, so he can like live here now? And Miss Price is like, we're gonna take him back.
Like, we have to take him back?
Yeah. So they decide that like we're gonna go drop him off in his timeline. Everyone's gonna see his house. We're gonna make sure he got home okay. And then we're gonna leave.
Reasonable. Yep. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Good, solid plan. Nothing can go wrong.
No. So they drop him off. They're like, all right, this is fine. He doesn't, like, basically, she kicks him out the door, doesn't make sure he gets inside okay. And he's like, all right, bye. Yeah. And then they leave. And then, like, a week goes by, and Miss Price is like, maybe we should just, like, check on it. Maybe we should just make sure he's doing okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
And the kids are like, yeah, we should probably go check on him. So they roll up, and Miss Price, there's, like, witch burnings going on.
Oops.
And they're like, So the necromancer is about to be burned at the stake for being a witch when he's a fake witch.
Mm-hmm.
And then Miss Price is like, listen, kids, stay with the bed and I'll meet you guys back here. So they wait for a while and then they're like, all right, it's been a long time. We should go.
We are done waiting. We do not want to wait anymore. It's been 5 minutes, which is too long.
Too long. So they like go over to see what's happening. The kids see Miss Price riding around on a broomstick and like taunting these villagers while the necromancer is like about to be burned. And then Miss Price gets fully shot down by the soldiers.
Oh no.
Yeah, shot down. And then Charles runs up and frees the necromancer while everybody's looking at the dead body of Miss Price. And they like run back. The kids are like, we can't get her body. Like there's a whole conversation about they can't save her body while they're all running back. And then like they get back and Miss Price is sitting on the bed. And she's like, I told you guys not to leave. And the kids were like, what? Turns out, basically, she body doubled and they just shot down the broomstick. But there wasn't anything up there.
Very
she was totally fine. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. So they bring the necromancer back to their timeline. And The necromancer asks Miss Price if she would like to share his life, and she says, "Yup."
Sure. We've known each
Yeah.
other for like a month. That sounds
Yeah.
fine.
So basically, she drops all the kids off, and she's like, we're gonna go back in time and live together." And the kids
Oh,
are like, mm-hmm,
this price is like, given the choice between 1945 and
mm-hmm,
1666, I'll take 1666. Thank you very
mm-hmm,
much.
mm-hmm. So she's like, "All right, kids, your train leaves in the morning, but I'm going now." So she like packs up the bed, puts all the stuff like modern appliances that she wants. And she's like, "I can't live without spices, some toilet paper." Like she's like throwing all the stuff on the bed.
Oh, Miss Price, you would have loved Costco. Anyway.
She really should have come to the future.
And then she packs up the whole bed. She tells the kids that someone's gonna come pick them up in the morning and to have a great life, basically.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the kids like have to basically go to bed. But before they decide to go to bed, they decide to go visit where this guy, the necromancer, lives
Mm-hmm.
one last time in the current day. And they think they can hear Miss Price laughing through time.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my.
Mm-hmm. And
That
then
is
that's it.
that is wildly different.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Which is why I was like very frustrated because it didn't re-jog my memory of the movie at all.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's
Hmm.
none of it the same.
Wow. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
my main points that I
Mm-hmm.
think based on that summary is that it would have been very cool if the movie did a bit about them going into the past and like fighting witch hunters. That would have been
Yeah.
sweet.
Definitely sweet.
However, the like center point of that movie is the like live action mixed with cartoon stuff, which is very
Mm-hmm.
fun, and then fighting Nazis because there's
Mm-hmm.
nothing better than fighting Nazis. It's so
Mm-hmm.
good. Uh, so I mean, it sounds like in your opinion, movie is better. You've read the book,
Yes. Yeah.
and this movie is so formative for the way I look at like what fantasy is like from a childhood perspective.
Mm-hmm.
That like that movie could tighten up a bit because it's long. There are
Yeah.
points in that movie where it's just like, okay, we're being a
Mm-hmm.
little draggy. I get it. We want to do some different stuff, but like, come on, this could be a tight 90 and I'd be happy with it. It's like
Yeah.
2 hours long, which is
Yeah.
long for a kid's movie. Um, but like that end scene, which is 15 minutes of suits of armor fighting Nazis, is pure fucking gold. I would not trade that for anything.
I'm actually very mad that Nazis were not the main enemy.
Right. Like the whole point in the movie that Miss Price is learning witchcraft is because she wants to fight Nazis. She's like, I need to do my bit for the war effort to fight
Mm-hmm.
Nazis. So what am I going to do? I'm going to become a witch and hex the shit out of them. And I'm like, you know what? Mood.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
I love it. It's so good.
Also,
Yeah.
was the cat in the book?
No.
God, okay. So the cat is my one of my favorite parts of that whole movie purely
Mm-hmm.
because of his name, which you may or may not remember is Cosmic Creepers, which is a fucking great name for a black
Yeah.
cat. Like, come on.
Literally.
And that like she's always changing people into rabbits and it doesn't work well and then the cat chases them around. Oh my god.
So
It's so
good.
good.
Yeah. This book is just like such a letdown if you like the movie.
I mean, I never sought it out for a number of reasons. Like
Mm-hmm.
by the time I knew it existed, I was an adult and I was like, I don't know that I feel the need to go back and read a children's book from 1940s or whatever it was. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that you did the reading, so so I didn't have to be disappointed, because
Yeah.
I feel like this book might make me angry.
Yes. Yeah. I like the thing I'm so confused about. I'm like, why did she go back in time to live with him when he
Right.
could just live in the present day?
It's not a choice that makes sense.
Mm-mm.
Like,
Because
I'm
like,
not saying that 1945 was a enlightened time to be a woman,
mm-hmm.
but you could vote.
Yeah.
You the chances of you being burned at the stake for a witch were low.
Mm-hmm.
Not 0%, because there's never a 0% chance of something happening, but like, if you go to
Low.
1666, that's not only the Great Fire of London and fucking Puritans running around everywhere. Puritans, well noted for their love of women and progressive causes. No. That's also, I don't know, are you familiar with Matthew Hopkins?
It rings a bell, but I couldn't tell you why.
So he's the Witchfinder General.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
he's the motherfucker wandering around England, going to different towns and telling them, "You got a witch problem. I'll deal with it if you pay me," and then just fucking murdering women. Like, this is not a great time if you yourself are a self-professed and kind of practicing witch to like go back to,
No. I mean,
unless unless part 3 of Bedknobs and Broomsticks, the never published one, is the John Wick chapter where she just goes and murders the witch hunters, which I would watch. I would
I
watch
would
the shit
watch
out of that movie.
I need that one.
one hundo. Like all she has to do is bring a gun to the past, and she's good.
Right, she's one.
Yeah, it's fine.
Don't even need to bring your witchcraft. You just bring, an M1 and you're fine. You need like 4 reloads and you can deal
Mhm.
with most of the problems in 17th century England.
I will note that they did talk about waiting for the fire to pass too,
Oh. So
but
they're
I
like,
didn't like pick up on it.
okay.
Yeah, but
I feel
like,
like there's some sinister part of that in a way, because I feel like the fire passes and everyone's rebuilding, so then you can just kind of like go and take shit if people died, or like occupy spaces. Like, it's one of those
mhm,
times where post natural disaster, or in this case man made disaster, like, it's just a time of new identities and people
mhm,
just show up, they disappear.
yeah.
Ooh, who owned this house before? Who can say? The records are gone.
That he was a homeowner though prior to the fire, but I think it got burned down. So I don't know what they did for a home because he was like in the middle of London.
Maybe they magicked a new house.
I mean, I don't know. He doesn't have any actual magic, and she's not very good at it. So who knows? Oh, there was a note though that he did once accidentally cast a real spell,
Oh.
and it freaked him out because he used to just say weird words in Latin. And
Mm-hmm.
one time he accidentally brought like I think a demon out.
I heard weird words in Latin and went, "There's a demon coming."
Oops.
Yeah, whoopsies. And then just like released it on London
Just like,
and
there
hit.
you go.
Yeah,
Is the demon the reason London burned?
it's very possible.
So he maybe was the cause of the fire.
Yeah.
Oops.
It was also like a weird the witch burning might have also been a part like that
Mm.
time frame because that sounded like it led up to oh no the whole reason he stays for a while is because of the great fire the first time.
Ah. Okay, so he's
So
like, I'm riding it out.
yeah, I think he found out about it and they're like, what day did you leave? And then she was like, ooh yeah, there's a fire going on right now, so
It's
we'll
like, okay,
wait.
we'll wait.
Yeah, I
Just
think that's what
put a
happens.
we'll take a time out. We'll put a pause on me going back until, okay.
Yeah.
That's smart.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So this is one of those I would highly recommend watching the movie instead.
Okay, that's fair. I will always recommend Bedknobs and Broomsticks
Mm-hmm.
as
Good
a
movie.
good movie.
Mm-hmm. But Alex, where can all the people find you on the internet?
Oh, you can find me at Mightiest Finn on Twitter if that still exists, or at Mighty Finn on Blue Sky if you're there. Um, that's mostly the social media I do. I'm otherwise a hermit who lives in the woods.
Same though.
Vibe. Vibe. But we will catch you listeners in 2 weeks with another episode. And you can find us at Novel Nostalgia Pod on all the places. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.